Crow's Nest, everybody. Tom Hart alongside Len Elmore. Fran Fraschilla is along as well. Well, one thing NC State showed a lot of people, Wake Forest as well, the blueprint for how to beat Duke.
Well, every time Duke comes off of a consecutive win streak, someone always has the formula. This year's version, pretty set. You got to contain the big fella, 23 hard-earned points, and you force guys to beat him from outside, which they didn't. They certainly have to attack the paint, get good looks from three, and avoid too many turnovers and giving up points off turnovers.
Let's take a look at the starting lineups. Jim Larrañaga has a couple of transfers in his backcourt. Angel Rodriguez from Kansas State, Sheldon McClellan from Texas. A very talented backcourt for Miami. And for Duke, Mike Krzyzewski has returned to his normal lineup. That is Emile Jefferson at the 4, alongside the talented freshman Jahlil Okafor. And we're ready to get going from Cameron Indoor. The 381st consecutive sellout here. Roger Ayers, Jerry Heater, and James Breeding have the whistles. And we're underway from Durham.
And Tom, I didn't mean to make it so simple. You know, the good news for Duke, few teams have the equipment and the ability to execute the game plan we just mentioned. They're also playing at home. They're 8-0, 41 consecutive wins at home. And when you think of Miami, they've got the size, they've got three-point shooters. And they handle the ball pretty well, just about 10 turnovers a game. But playing at Cameron following a loss, I don't know, that's a pretty steep curve.
Well, Omar Sherman is in the lineup tonight to do just that as he drains a 3, his 14th of the season. He's a stretch 4 that can shoot it.
Take a look right now at the defense. If Okafor gets it, it is sending the big fellows taking the middle, and here's what happens when you do. Okafor, terrific passer.
Okafor gets it back from Jefferson and works his way in for a bucket. He leads the ACC in scoring at 19 a game.
And a good job by Duke recognizing when Okafor gives it up, that double team goes away. They get it back to him quickly enough. He's got one-on-one capability.
Sherman with his second 3 attempt and as many trips down the floor for Miami. Another double on Okafor. Dribbles out of it, and they tried to work it into Jefferson, but it's taken away by Tane Jakiri.
Quite honestly, I'd like to see Jefferson stay out of that paint, let Okafor throw it weak side, and then follow the ball. But that time, he just stepped out of the play once he gives it up, and you don't have to do that.
Rodriguez kicks it back out. 3 trips, 3 attempts from Miami. They've made 1 of them to start. He came in at 36%. Winslow, the freshman. Okafor couldn't finish. Numbers the other way for the Canes. Barnett with the foul and a trip to the free throw line. The first on Tyus Jones. Let's take a look at tonight's keys to the game.
Well, the first thing for Miami, limit turnovers and points off turnovers. Duke thrives on easy buckets, and the guards have to have a big night scoring. That means they've occupied Okafor on screen and rolls. Duke, one-on-one opportunities for Okafor. No doubt he's going to score and stretch the defense with solid three-point shooting if Okafor is good.
DeAndre Burnett, the freshman from Carroll City High School in Miami, has another free throw coming his way. He missed 4 games with a knee injury early in the season. Made his first start against Boston College. And Burnett makes 1 of 2.
Now, this is one of those games where you got 3 young players, fresh first-year players, coming off a loss, and they've got to kind of reignite themselves. Mike Krzyzewski talked about toughness. No doubt his team is tough. But the fact is, you have to be even tougher, particularly when you play on the road. That was a good measuring stick against NC State.
Well, their offensive and defensive reputations took a big hit at PNC Arena, which has been a house of horrors for Duke over the years. Jakiri's on the offensive glass, and he gets fouled by Jefferson, his first. Mike Krzyzewski's team allowed North Carolina State to shoot 55% from the floor. They hit 10 of 16 from deep. He's 3 wins away from 1,000. So Duke did not play well defensively in terms of field goal percentage defense, and they didn't shoot the ball well. Season low 37% from the floor.
Yeah, and the double team on Jahlil Okafor made him work hard for those 23 points, but he's an outstanding player. The problem was, other than Quinn Cook, no one else stepped up for Duke at that particular time.
Miami has 1 win here at Cameron Indoor a couple of years ago. They upset the 7th ranked team in the nation. Jones was open for a moment. And Tanya Jakiri has another board. He leads the ACC in rebounds, more than 10 a game.
He's averaged 10 points, 11 rebounds over the last 4 games, including 15 rebounds in his last game against Boston College. So he's a confident young man.
McClellan is a good shooter. He can drive, and his floater's short. Duke a chance to push it. And it's kicked by Angel Rodriguez. Well, it's the kind of start Jim Larrañaga was hoping for. They've hit one from deep. He's gotten to the free throw line as well. One of 5 ACC coaches with over 500 wins. One of 5 with a Final Four trip.
Jim Larrañaga went to the Final Four with a so-called mid-major team, George Mason, a miracle run in 2006.
Really the first mid-major in the modern era to make it. Taken away by Okafor on the double, maybe even a triple. Second turnover for Duke.
That was a change in the strategy. The big guys doubled.
Athletic catch and finish by Sheldon McClellan.
Big guys double, but Angel Rodriguez dug. And Okafor's got to be careful now. Once he picks it up, he's got to identify the defense before he makes a move.
Matt Jones didn't spend much time on the bench. Quickly came in for Emile Jefferson. Okafor spins baseline and reverses it in. May have skipped on his way there. He's got 4.
Well, that's where the defense isn't. On the baseline, a quick move baseline might get Jahlil Okafor some daylight, but just as against NC State, he's had to work really hard to get the ball and make some outstanding moves in order to score.
Joe Thomas is in the game for Miami, and a careless mistake. No catch by Burnett. It's a Duke run out. Okafor corrals, and he'll go to the free throw line. Nearly a 3-point opportunity. Great athleticism for Okafor to find it. He'll be at the line when we return with Duke trailing by a point.
ESPN's exclusive present.
Well, thanks, Tommy. I've been watching this young man all season. He's making 75% of his shots at the rim. Early in the game, he had a turnover because one of the things he does is he cannot be casual with the ball. Usually does a great job of looking to the middle of the floor, but this is a simple drop and dig by the bigs. And watch the guard now. He's just going to dig in a little bit, and Jahlil's going to get a little casual. That's where he's got to kick it out, and as Lenny knows, repost right away and demand the ball back.
He certainly gets opportunities. They run 9 post-up plays for him a game. That's more than any other ACC team.
Well, to look at that correlatively, Duke averages 38 points a game in the paint. Obviously, most of those coming from the big fella right there. But he has done an outstanding job thus far of identifying defenses. Every once in a while, he might lose it. On that turnover, he was actually looking for the double team and never saw Rodriguez coming.
That was a foul on Matt Jones on the missed free throw. Rodriguez, LeCompte with the drive. He's in the game now. And a follow tip from Reed, his first bucket.
And Tom, we talked about one of the points, one of the keys to the game for Miami is you've got to be able to attack. You've got to be able to attack that paint.
Duke is one of the best in the country at it. Coming the other way, and the slam for McClellan. His second bucket at the rim. Winslow still shook up on the Duke end of the floor. He barely got to his feet. He took a shot to the midsection.
He was wide open in the corner, and he missed him.
When Cook continues his roll. 26 consecutive games with a 3 for the senior.
And boy, without Quinn Cook against NC State, Duke probably wouldn't have even been in the game. Outstanding from beyond the arc, 4 of 7. Unfortunately for the rest of the team, from beyond the arc, they were 3 of 20.
Davon Reed on the floor along with Manu LeCompte after that last timeout. They got a hold out front on Rasheed Suleiman. His first personal.
That's good spacing by Miami and kind of a mismatch. Rodriguez with the ball, and you got Suleiman guarding him. Suleiman quick, got length, but I'm not so sure those tools are going to help him against the quickness and the change of pace of Rodriguez.
Well, Miami really has 2 point guards on the floor right now. Angel Rodriguez and Manu LeConte, who made 17 starts at the point last year for Miami. This is Rodriguez with the dish, and Ja'Carri draws a foul. Saturday at 6:15 Eastern on ESPN, West Virginia takes on Isaiah Taylor and number 20 Texas. Followed at 9 as 9th-ranked Kansas battles number 11 Iowa State. ESPN, the home court of college hoops.
Again, it bears mentioning one of the components of that formula I mentioned was attacking the paint, try to get inside-out balance. As Miami continues to do that, they force Duke to kind of sag a bit to help, and that's where the open looks from beyond the arc come.
The last foul's on Matt Jones, his second. He'll have to take a seat. Another free throw coming for Tanya Ja'Carri. He's got 2 early after a 13-point, 15-rebound performance Saturday in Miami's win at Boston College.
Right now, Duke has got to continue to look for Okafor, get him some touches, because look what it does to the defense. It gets them scrambling. Now he comes back and gets it. He's in a one-on-one situation.
Whoa! A finish that never happened after the foul on the floor. It's a first on Ja'Carri.
And that's what I'm talking about. Get him in a one-on-one situation, and no doubt he's going to score.
Carey's got one. Joe Thomas, Miami's other big, has one personal early. The double comes again from the blind side. Kick to Cook for 3. Juan Newton, freshman point guard out of Philadelphia. Turns a corner. Nobody picked him up. And he went right down the lane for the jam. And a chance for a 3-point play. Mike Krzyzewski is seething.
This is all about spacing, a high screen, which keeps the bigs occupied. And as the space, look at the amount of room that Newton had going down the lane.
Lenny, you're exactly right. I love that they've got Okafor out on the floor and pick and roll, and they're also playing with an open post, so he's opposite. Miami's guard doing a terrific job of getting to the basket.
Newton couldn't finish the 3-point play, but that dunk left a lasting effect on Mike Krzyzewski, frustrated by Duke's lack of toughness in the loss at North Carolina State on Sunday. And a blocking foul will go against Newton, the freshman.
And essentially, to paraphrase, you know, Mike Krzyzewski wasn't questioning his team's toughness per se. He says they're not soft. But these young guys particularly, they think they're playing hard, but they don't know how hard you have to play in the ACC. And I think they found out on Sunday, and here today they have to amp it up a notch even though they're home.
Quick turnaround jumper. Draws a foul on Davon Reed, his first. And it'll put Jahlil Okafor at the free throw line again.
And in all honesty, though, Tom, I don't think Miami minds that quick shot by Okafor. I mean, he's an outstanding shooter. But you'd rather have him take a quick shot, which lessens the percentage, as opposed to let him get set and comfortable.
Okafor has gone to the free throw line 97 times this season. 6-time ACC Rookie of the Week. Danny Manning's team did a fantastic job on him midweek in the game at Wake Forest. He only got 6 field goal attempts off in that game. And Okafor gets a breather.
Well, here, without Okafor in the middle, full court pressure, and attempting to create some easy opportunities. And this is, if you're Miami, this is where you make sure you get a shot up to the glass rather than turn the ball over, particularly in the open floor.
They've been hot lately, but it's a turnover by Newton. Second turnover for the Canes.
Certainly not the kind of possession you want if you're Jim Larrañaga, but you're thankful that it wasn't a live ball turnover to give Duke a chance to go the other way. Duke, on the other hand, right now, they're going to find some offense from a variety of positions right now without Okafor in the game.
Grayson Allen and Marshall Plumlee now on the floor for Duke. Emil Jefferson finishes.
There's one. still points off turnovers, something that Miami sorely needs to avoid. Duke very efficient at turning turnovers into points.
Reed trying to size up Jones. Back to Newton, the freshman, with the dish. And Ja'Carri's got his first field goal of the game.
That's an excellent basketball. You don't call plays for that. That's instinctive basketball. Drive, draw, and dish.
Jefferson drops it in, and back-to-back buckets for the junior from Philly.
And I tell you what, Devon Reed, he's the marked man right now. Duke finding a weak spot in the Miami defense, and they're going to it early and often.
Miami has made 5 of its last 6 field goals. Reed with a 2.
Let's see if Duke goes to the same spot. No, they got a break opportunity.
And Tyus Jones throws it in for his first bucket. Duke's first lead of the game.
Not the best of shots, but Jones will take it. Over the last 4 games, he came into this game shooting 6 of 22 from the field. So anything that goes through the nets for him, he'll be satisfied with.
LeCompte fouled on a 3. It's the first on Quinn Cook. A lot of whistles going against Duke here in the first 9 minutes. It's a 2-point lead for the 4th-ranked Blue Devils, getting production from both of their bigs. Okafor was 7, Jefferson was 6 early.
Shelves across America are still filled with these old-fashioned bulbs that create more heat than light. Now, they may be good for some things, but they're...
He's going to look to the middle of the floor, and he can survey 95% of it. He can see his own man, he can see the weak side defenders, and he can also see his teammates cutting and spotting up. Here he spins and dunks on Philip Nolan of Connecticut. Tonight, he's done a pretty good job of handling the double team, catching and looking opposite, getting somebody on his team an open shot. The key tonight for Jahlil Okafor is patient versus the double teams, smart ball movement, and then more importantly, and I think Lenny can speak to this, once he gives it up out of the double, he must reestablish and demand the ball and not just be satisfied with kicking it out.
My friend, thanks. And he's learning more and more how to deal with these double teams. It's not like anything he's seen before.
Well, no, and he's always been a dominant player regardless of the level upon which he's played. But here, he's starting to understand where the double team is coming from. He kicks it out, and as Fran had mentioned, and we talked about this, he can get more one-on-one opportunities if he kicks it opposite and then follows the ball, because the double team now leaves him. They're in rotation trying to cover everyone. He's one-on-one with a guy, and if he can get the ball in the paint, one-on-one, lights out.
Okafor's last field goal came 5 minutes ago as she got a breather. And at the free throw line, Manu LeCompte for Miami. The Miami turnover continued for the 2nd consecutive season. 9 newcomers, LeCompte and Ja'Carri, 2 of the main holdovers for Jim Larrañaga's staff. They welcomed in a pair of transfers, 2 impact transfers, and a 3rd, Joe Thomas, a graduate transfer. Angel Rodriguez from Kansas State, Sheldon McClellan from Texas. And Jim Larrañaga, we talked earlier about a blueprint for beating Duke. He knows what he wants his team to do on the offensive end against Duke's pressure defense. He said they're back to pressuring the wings as good as they have since back when Mike Krzyzewski was winning national titles. Grayson Allen on the floor for Duke, had to track it down. Tyus Jones, a freshman. Plumlee gave it up with Jefferson. Allen for 3. And Plumlee fights for another one. It's out of bounds to Duke. The winningest coach in college basketball, Mike Krzyzewski, now with 997 career wins, on his way to 1,000 wins.
With this personnel out on the floor, Duke obviously has to be very deliberate. Make sure they execute, get the ball in the hands of guys who can put the ball in the basket.
Another offensive rebound. Jefferson tried to give it to a guard inside. Out front, Miami can't catch up to it. And a Hurricanes turnover. Their third, but another one coming on a dead ball turnover.
Missed opportunity for Miami, but Amile Jefferson, give him a lot of credit, averaging almost 3 offensive rebounds a game. And he continues to work that board.
Jim Larrañaga played for Dave Gavitt at Providence. Now at home in the ACC. He has 2 wins in 4 games against Duke as the head coach at Miami. A blowout at home a couple of years ago with his championship team. Okafor back in and impactful immediately.
And I'm not even sure that Miami knew who was on the floor, because that was pretty lazy defense as Okafor stepped up on the screen and roll. And perfect delivery.
He leads the nation in field goal percentage. McClellan back rims it. Long board for Okafor. Justice Winslow rejected at the rim. Jefferson tracks another one down.
Well, those second chance opportunities start to pile up. And the chemistry of having a guy like Amile Jefferson, whose willingness to do the dirty work, goes a long way for Duke.
A whistle against Miami inside. Sheldon McClellan with his first personal.
Well, you see there on the screen and roll, they totally forget it. Omar Sherman paid so much attention to the score, they totally forget. That's Jahlil Okafor right there.
You shouldn't lose that guy. In his past, he was the #1 recruit in the nation. In his future, he's projected the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft. And presently, the top scorer in the ACC and the top shooter in the country in terms of percentage. Cook spins and reverses it off the window. Largest lead of the game for Duke.
And pretty much the way he established himself Sunday against NC State as a compliment to the big fella, Quinn Cook, the senior, having to provide some offense.
But an answer from Angel Rodriguez. And a foul will go against Omar Sherman. Quinn Cook, a senior.
But what Duke right now is they're playing away from Okafor, giving other guys a chance to establish themselves. And once they're established, it makes it that much harder to guard Okafor as time goes on. And Quinn Cook, the one guy who stepped up against NC State, 4 of 7 from beyond the arc, 18 points. He's getting started again.
Miami has shot twice as many free throws as Duke here early on as Tyus Jones hits the first. And returning for Miami is Davon Reed. Jones hits them both. The Duke lead is 3. Rodriguez again. Got it again! Angel Rodriguez was fired up about playing at Cameron tonight. He said, I played in Allen Fieldhouse. I love the emotion of being in a big house on the road. And a Duke throwaway. Here's Rodriguez, the K-State transfer. What a move! And the left hand finish. He's got 8 in a row. And Miami's back in front.
This young man can score in a bunch. You know, he can break down the defense. He can knock it down from beyond the arc. He's got the game plan for Angel Rodriguez, and right now Duke has got to find a way to stay in front of him.
Ball ripped down by James Palmer. Here's Miami on the run. That was tipped by Miami and Palmer. It will go back to Duke. But Angel Rodriguez has risen for Miami. He was scoreless until just a moment ago.
Yeah, and he picks his spots. And these are some terrific spots to pick if you're a Hurricane fan.
8 straight for Rodriguez and Miami in front. This season here at Cameron Indoor with a 41-game home win streak, the longest current streak in the NCAA, and a consecutive sellout streak of 381 straight games.
And that's why I say, Tom, we can talk formula on how to beat Duke all you want, but when you take a look at that number right there, that makes it a highly steep curve. You know, Duke has not lost in Cameron following a road loss since February 4, 2007. That was the Florida State.
That was the first bucket for the Duke bench on the Suleiman bank shot. We've had 7 ties, 2 lead changes here tonight. Back door, nothing doing there, but good ball movement. And Ja'Carri had it skip off the rim. Another board for Jefferson. Okafor finds Jefferson, and he'll go to the free throw line after the foul. Wednesday on ESPN, it's an NBA doubleheader as John Wall and the Wizards take on Derrick Rose and the Bulls. Then Chris Paul and Damian Lillard battle in the nightcap. The action tips with NBA Countdown at 7:30 Eastern, then Wizards Bulls at 8, and Clippers Blazers at 10:30.
Tom, Duke doing a nice job when Okafor receives of sending someone straight to the front of the rim, you know, where a player can go there unaccosted if Okafor can deliver quickly. Now, if you're Miami, you execute getting there, but this should never be able to throw a chest pass to a guy in front of the rim. You've got to get their hands more active if they're going to prevent Jahlil Okafor from finding people off the double.
NC State answered Duke's doubles with a couple dump downs and dunks early on. On Sunday, Duke wasn't able to go back to their double team.
A lot of that had to do with the fact that NC State was lighting it up from beyond the arc. They spread the floor.
10 threes did the Wolfpack. Jefferson with rebound number 7. How about this number? Since 1997, Duke is 128 and 56 on the road. 46 times opponents' fans have stormed the court after their home team knocked off Duke. And they did it again in Raleigh. 4-on-2 break for Miami.
Well, that's a tribute to Duke's success, no question about it.
They'll wave it off with an offensive foul on the freshman Newton, his second.
Well, the idea is a secondary defender outside a restricted area, be set in legal defending position. Jones did all that and got rewarded.
4th turnover for Miami.
See, that's when Okafor's got to go back and follow the ball and get a one-on-one opportunity.
Miami on the run, and the breakaway slam for James Palmer. Okafor's a great weak side rebounder. And he gets a foul on Sherman before the spin move. He'll be shooting a one-on-one. Well, you're saying he's got to get to the strong side after he gives it up?
Yeah, once he passes to the weak side, follow the pass, because as soon as he gives up the ball, you take a look right here, he's going to receive. Well, right here, this is a double team. He dribbles outside. Once he gives up the ball, look, he's got an opportunity to go straight to the basket and almost be one-on-one. That time he went to try to get the rebound. His teammates have to wait for him, too. He's a much higher percentage shooter from in that paint than they are from beyond the arc. They got to play with him.
You know, Lenny, it's a great point. Karl Malone used to get mad in playoff games when he got double, kicked it out, and they didn't try to find him. And Karl started to cut to the foul line and then back down to the block to reestablish himself. Love to see Jahlil do more of that.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line here is that his teammates need to wait for him, recognizing that they can build leads with him by him scoring and getting to the free throw line a lot faster than they can from shooting threes.
Double again.
Now follow the ball. Go back. Follow the ball.
Lost on the drive, but a foul will go against Miami. That's a first on Palmer. 10th team foul on Miami. Couple free throws coming now for Duke. And Matt Jones, who's a tab by Mike Krzyzewski to start on the road against NC State. He played 20 minutes, shot just 1 for 6 from deep. And one of the reasons he was out there was to give Duke a better defensive effort on the perimeter.
And going back to the offense, I'm not trying to take the ball out of the hands of the guys on the perimeter. But when you're playing solid defense on one end in a close game situation, you want to methodically build your lead. And the best way to do it is get the highest percentage shots most frequently And Jahlil Okafor is about as high percentage shot as you can get. And if you can get it to him frequently in one-on-one situations, you're golden.
He leads the nation at 68% from the floor. Rodriguez back to Jekiri. It's a long jumper for the big guy.
Long jumper, not the shot I don't think Miami wants. He's another guy that can pass and reset.
Suleiman was open.
Just hate to see guys settling because on the other end you're going to get burned. Suleiman really heating up. Last few games averaging about 11 points a game, although on the season averaging 8 points per game. Came into this game 6 of his last 10 3-point shots, so he's found his range.
He's been in double figures in 3 consecutive games. Rodriguez drew a foul, and that's going to go against Jones, and that's the 3rd already on a sophomore from DeSoto, Texas.
Take a look right there. Just an exchange. Suleiman stays outside because he had to switch with Jekiri. Jekiri didn't want to come out there, and you take advantage.
So Angel Rodriguez to the free throw line. He went 3 for 3 from the line with 9/10 of a second left to force overtime against Virginia. That was a disheartening loss for Miami as a whole. An overtime loss at home to now the #2 team in the nation. Angel told me today, he said, it wasn't as bad as it may seem. He said it was really a confidence booster for us. We weren't in a great spot. And so to know that we could take Virginia to overtime, that gave us some confidence.
Hey, Tom, to your point, when he was at Kansas State, Angel was always a big game guy. 2 of his worst games this year came against Eastern Kentucky and Green Bay in losses. He lives for the moment. He's done a really good job tonight.
A push-off inside is on Okafor. It's the first on a freshman from Chicago. 4th-ranked Duke getting all it can handle from Miami here in the first half. And to North Carolina, they lost to Carolina by a point when Marcus Page hit a last-second leaner.
Yeah, and on Saturday, you're going to see Rick Pitino work his magic. They'll go man, they'll go zone, they'll go combination defense. I think back to the Wake Forest, Kentucky days when he shut down Tim Duncan with double teams, and I would expect him to have a pretty elaborate game plan for the big guy.
It doesn't hurt that he has a guy by the name of Montrezl Harrell inside. He's got 18 straight double-doubles as Tanya Jekiri hits the first of now 2.
Yeah, my expectation is neither Okafor or Harrell are going to see much of each other unless it's out of double teams. And if I'm those coaches, I have those 2 avoid each other. And it seems like instant foul trouble.
Well, Harrell has been a consistent performer this season for Louisville, nearly 16 points a game and 9 boards, 7th in the league in scoring. Is it odd that in this day and age, we're talking about a matchup between 2 Hall of Fame coaches, and we're focusing on how they're going to prepare to stop or slow down a freshman?
It's the game today. I don't know how much you can do about it. You know, these guys are so talented coming in, and they become prominent parts of the program. And you take a look at Duke, and you think about it. 41 points, 18 rebounds, 9 assists come from 3 freshman starters.
LeCompte fires a 3. Got it. And Miami extends its lead to 4.
Good help there by Jekiri. Winslow picks up the dribble. No double team right here. One-on-one situation. Take advantage.
Too strong. And Joe Thomas has it. Kicks it out to McClellan. Left his feet too early, and it's stolen back by Suleiman. 5th turnover for Miami.
And the mistake he made in leaving his feet too early was that he looked to pass instead of shoot.
Jekiri with the outlet pass. Rodriguez blocked by Winslow. That was 5'11" against 6'6". The big guy won. And now Jefferson wins inside. 8 for Emile Jefferson.
Good hustle by Winslow. Never conceded the layup. It's time for Miami now to slow it down, go back to being more precise. Use those high screens and get their top gun loose.
Rodriguez dives in to take it away and tie up Emile Jefferson. Possession arrow belongs to Duke.
We take a look at Winslow. Never really gave up. Good block.
That may be a challenge for Miami this season. They have a small backcourt with LeConte and Rodriguez on the floor at the same time, both sub-6 footers.
Yeah, and I would think, since they've been small all their lives, they would know how to drive to the basket, make the contact, and then show the ball. But that time Rodriguez showed the ball, and Winslow, an excellent athlete, took advantage.
It was an issue for Duke on Sunday against North Carolina State's rangy backcourt. Okafor's been moving awfully quick.
Yeah, a little too quick right now. He's worried about putting points on the board. That's not the position for him to do that.
McClellan was wide open and couldn't knock it down. And he traveled with it.
Zakiri did a nice job of anticipating that spin. They're starting to get his game down, and he's playing right into their hands. He's got to back away a little bit, see what the defense gives him, and then restart, reposition.
Coming up on the Land Rover halftime report, Buckeye Nation is still rolling, national championship and all. Highlights from other action around the nation, scores and more. First half analysis back here, Cameron. Kicked by Winslow.
If you're Miami on that penetration, you've got to get the timing down. You can't cut to the basket too soon, because then Duke certainly recovers quickly enough. You've got to have the timing when Rodriguez makes his cut to the basket, his penetration to the basket at the right moment.
Hurricanes have made only one of their last 6 field goal attempts. LeConte. And Okafor has it.
Yeah, LeConte, even though he's 5'11", you got to finish that.
Suleiman, corner 3. Bang! Rasheed Suleiman's second triple. Duke's back in front.
He said Suleiman can be so valuable knocking down those threes.
8 ties, 5 lead changes. Rasheed Suleiman giving the crazies something to cheer about. From Cameron Indoor, where Duke leads Miami 35-34. Coming out of the timeout, let's see what Jim Larrañaga has drawn up.
Remember, he told us this afternoon in practice, wasn't necessarily going to draw plays. He wanted to react, utilize the high screen, let his playmakers make plays.
Newton, the freshman, steps through. Who wants it? We got a tie game, tie ball, and it will be Miami basketball. On the share possession, Joe Thomas waiting to check in for the Hurricanes.
Got a good opportunity. McClellan just kind of fumbled it. And then the scrum ensues. Miami will be much better served to hold this for the last one.
Shot clock is off. Miami just won for their last 8.
Rodriguez calling for the high screen. Should go with about 12. Give yourself a chance to offensive rebound.
Mismatch over Jefferson. Another chance for Miami. 3, 2, the runner. Wave it off, an offensive foul on the Canes. Manu LeConte thought he had given Miami the lead. Instead, he commits his first personal. Now Duke has 3/10 of a second left.
Here's the key. Did the ball leave his hand before the contact? You judge for yourself. Ball leave his hand before the contact? Whoa, very close.
Well, now it's back to Duke. They've got
through the locker room. The odds of getting a tip are about 1 in 1,000.
Well, the officials have gone back to the monitor to see if they should add any time. And after a quick look, they're going to put a full second on. So that's a big change. Not like you can settle down and get a shot off, but you don't have to rely on just a tip. And Jim Larrañaga's not happy with this, and for good reason.
Oh, boy.
That changes everything.
I don't blame him on that one. The official blew the whistle. It was less than a second.
Well, remember now, even if he throws it the lane to the court, this ball's got to hit somebody.
Clock will start when it's touched. Winslow. What do we get here?
What?
Winslow was trying to get it in, and he fumbled it almost like the tuck rule.
And the official probably said, I didn't give him a good enough pass.
That's okay, guys. If he fumbles it,
and that's what the
give him the ball back.
Yeah, the official's saying, I didn't give him a good enough pass. My bad.
He fumbled it on the would-be throw, not on the reception. Well, regardless, Cook lets it take a bounce, and he's wide left. Well, a little bit of everything in this first half. Jahlil Okafor for Duke with 9 points in the first half on 3 of 6 shooting to go with 5 rebounds. But Emile Jefferson, 8 points and 7 boards. And Miami 0 for its last 6. Jim Larrañaga's squad, last field goal came in 3:24. Let's go down courtside. Fran standing by with Jeff Capel.
Jeff, obviously Miami's going to spread you out and drive it. How do you rectify that in the second half?
Well, we have to do a better job with our ball screen defense. We got to do a much better job at keeping the ball out of the paint. It's going to be a fight. They're good off those screens. Rodriguez is really good with the ball. We have to make some adjustments and try to keep them out of our paint.
What do you have to improve in your half-court offense?
We have to make some shots, first of all, and then we have to do a better job of value in the basketball. We have to be stronger, and we have to take advantage when Ja gets doubled. When we get the ball down low, we have to finish strong, and we get those shots. We got to knock them in.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
All right, Fran, thanks. Duke shooting just 45% at the half, coming off of the worst shooting performance of the season, 37% at NC State. Our score, 35-34 Duke. Coming up after the break, we'll join the studio for the Land Rover halftime report. We know a run's coming. That seems to be the case with Duke. What has Miami done right in the first half?
Well, they certainly have done a decent job defensively against Jahlil Okafor inside. They've done a terrific job matching Duke in the paint. Duke, on the other hand, shooting 3 of 9 from beyond the arc. They've got to do a better job taking charge of those good looks. 5 points off of 6 turnovers, so they limited their points off turnovers. The backcourt from Miami has done a nice job. Okafor in one-on-one opportunities, he's only gotten a few points, 9 points, 5 rebounds.
Let's go down to Coach K Court and check in with Fran Fraschilla.
Thanks, Tommy. I talked to Jim Larrañaga at the half. Pleased with his half-court defense. Worried about transition offense. He thought they did a good job on Jahlil Okafor. But as you know, and he's won in here before, he told his team, keep your composure. Second half is a game of runs. You got to get one more run than they get.
Fran, thanks. And that's the key for everybody in this building, Len. We see it all the time. You know a run is going to come at some point from Duke, and it usually comes non-conference, in-conference, whatever, within the first 3 minutes of the second half. It's how you handle that, and if you can get back in or stay in the game.
That's right. The intensity level is something you have to get started as soon as you inbound the ball in the half court. And right there, good idea by Duke, getting Justice Winslow off early.
That's his first field goal of the game.
Now he's 1 of 5 right now. Finished the NC State game 3 of 13.
And what a finish by Angel Rodriguez, who ended up with the cameraman. He's got 11.
Still rubbing the back of his head. You got to forget that, man. Step in front.
Jefferson slipped in.
How about Emile Jefferson? He's the guy commanding the paint for Duke right now. Excellent slice to the basket. Good find by Quinn Cook.
Rodriguez is still rubbing the back of his head after colliding with the cameraman under the basket. As Jefferson went right by him. These two have been mismatched a couple of times tonight. Rodriguez trying to work past the big. Ball fake, step through, too wide, and Okafor yanks it down.
Yeah, once Rodriguez picked up his dribble, he was in trouble. You're going to drive when you're that size and you got that differential. You got to go straight to the basket. You got to create contact with the defender.
Winslow. An air ball right into the hands of Okafor.
One-on-one opportunity, but here comes the double team.
Hesitated the second time and draws the foul on the drive. And that will be against Angel Rodriguez, the first of the Miami point guard. First half numbers, Miami didn't score in the first nearly 3.5 minutes, missed their first 6 field goals. They've had 9 different scores.
And you can tell right now, finishing the half 0 for 4, Justice Winslow probably had the focus placed on him offensively to get him started. He has seen the ball several opportunities during the Duke possession, trying to jumpstart him. As I mentioned before, just shot 3 of 13 against NC State. First half 0 for 4. That's 3 of 17. And he's too good a player to settle at that point.
Nothing from the free throw line. LeConte able to track it down. Trying to cross over Jones. Solved the traffic and found Rodriguez. A kick and a 3. A couple of air balls from behind the arc for both teams, and Rodriguez commits his second personal foul.
Jim Larenega's got to wonder, you know, these guys are getting good looks. They're a 36% three-point shooting team. They like to put it up, almost 8 per game.
Correction on the foul situation. Jekiri picked up his first personal moments ago, so that was only the first on Rodriguez. A Duke turnover. Back to Miami, trailing by 3. 7th turnover for Duke. They only average 11 a game.
Miami seems to have gone away from the high screen and roll. Just trying to get guys isolated out front or on the side to go one-on-one.
Khan only 5'11", got caught in the paint again. Big time finish by Davon Reed. He's got 4. Quinn Cook. This is Rodriguez.
So there's where I wonder, what's wrong with the backboard? As you see Winslow down.
Second time Winslow has gone down this game, this time holding his shoulder.
And it looks kind of serious right now. You hope that it's not.
They'll get a timeout after the LeConte 3. The 10 to Justice Winslow, the freshman from Houston.
Take a look at the push right there. Winslow hits the ground.
Yeah, I think he jammed it trying to break his fall right when he first skipped to the hardwood, put his hand down, and it looked like it may have jammed his shoulder. He's hit a 3 in every game thus far this season, but none tonight as he gets tended to on the Duke bench.
Jefferson looking for a call, not going to get it on the flop. Ooh, stepped on the line.
Oh, that was a beautiful dish. But Jefferson was on the baseline. 8th turnover for Duke. A little sloppy to start this second half. Neither team shooting the ball especially well out of the break. Not what we expected. High energy in the building for the most part tonight. It's gotten quiet now. 2-point Canes lead.
Warriors Thunder at 8. Cavs Clippers.
16:07 to go in the second half. Jahlil Okafor getting his touches in the paint.
Well, you take a look again in the one-on-one situation. Those are opportunities for him. There's probably not any single defender that can stop this young man. in a one-on-one deal, but he's got to make more out of those opportunities. And in fact, if he gives up the ball and gets it to his teammates, they have to go right back at him when he can position himself better. Right now, Duke hasn't done that.
And Lenny, on that offensive end, man, I want to see better spacing from Duke. Too many orange jerseys in the lane when Okafor does get the ball or looks to get it.
Well, again, the problem with Duke right now is they're not shooting the threes like they want, 3 of 11. And that's the biggest issue for them. They need to spread the floor by knocking down some shots and forcing Miami out on them. They don't knock down those shots, Miami's not coming.
Miami on a 7-0 run over nearly the last 2 minutes, and it's stolen away by Reed off of Suleiman. Out front, LeCon all the way. Blocked at the glass by Jefferson, and they'll count it. Coming off of the backboard. Largest lead of the game for Miami. It's a 6-point Hurricanes advantage. In the half court or running. Miami on a run tonight in Durham. Having his career high 27 in the overtime of Miami's 78-74 win against 7th-ranked Duke. Jim Larrañaga, 2 wins against Duke. Overtime here and a blowout down at Miami. Here the Canes lead 45-39. A couple ways you can keep a Duke run from happening. Number 1, defense. Number 2, tempo.
Absolutely, and Miami has controlled the tempo, kept the ball out of Okafor's hands, forced him to give it up. And as he mentioned before, Fran mentioned not enough good spacing to give them opportunities to force the defense out. And once again, another rush shot. But thank goodness for Amile Jefferson, who has just been commanding the offensive glass.
He is a perfect 6 for 6 from the floor.
Miami's got to realize it's not enough to bottle up Okafor.
Out to LeCon.
All right, I'm not necessarily understanding. Tanya Jakiri, 7 feet tall, 6 inches from the basket, and you can't make a move to go up strong and get fouled. You got to be able to do that. Turned out a 90% shot for a 35% shot.
Jones went right by Rodriguez.
Well, there you go. Mike Krzyzewski trying to exhort his guys. Miami is asleep at the switch. 2 mental mistakes, and Duke is within 2.
A push on the drive will be the 2nd personal on Amile Jefferson. Tonight after the game, SportsCenter special looks back over the storied career of Coach K, including interviews with former players Christian Laettner, Jay Bilas, Jay Williams, and Matt Brown, his very first recruit at Army, including family conversation with his wife Mickey, their 3 daughters, and Coach K himself, all providing personal stories on the way to win 1,000. It may be delayed by Miami, and Omar Sherman with the jam.
And Miami going back to what we spoke of, part of that formula, attack the paint. Put it on the floor, drive, dish.
Quinn Cook rattles it home.
Kind of the way it was Sunday. Quinn Cook, the only guy from beyond the arc, giving Duke some opportunity. Cook 2 of 4 from beyond the arc right now.
Shooter's touch for Angel Rodriguez, but Duke pushing. Nothing to show for it until Suleiman got the kick out. Okafor fouled on the floor by Omar Sherman. That'll be his 3rd personal.
Again, on the drive, right down the lane. Duke trying to draw the foul, but you got to be careful. Once that ball is given up and the player has a step, you know, the charge is off right there. You got to have your hands working, and you've got to be able to deflect those passes if you're that lone defender back there.
Joe Thomas, the transfer from Niagara, commits his 2nd personal.
Tell you what, looking at the foul situation, 14 fouls for Miami, only 1 for Duke. But Jim Larrañaga wants to put Thomas in, strongest guy on that team, to be able to really provide some physical play.
Foul on the rebound on Matt Jones. That's his 4th. So Jones will have to come out shortly. Justice Winslow hasn't re-entered since he took that hard fall and seemingly jammed his shoulder.
He's coming back in now.
This is a Duke team already with a short bench. After Shimi Ojale transferred at the end of the semester. Only 9 on scholarship. Granted, they're all 9 McDonald's All-Americas. Miami has hit 7 of 11 in the second half.
And you see Duke exchanging now, keeping Okafor in the paint. He's not going out there to guard the high screener. He's just going to switch with who's ever setting the screen out there and who's ever man is down low. Now, if Miami got smart and they put 4 guys outside, it might be a different story. But right now, smart play by Duke, keeping Okafor close to the basket.
That was the first personal on Winslow.
Now he has to go. Now he's trying to switch. He's calling it. Doesn't want to come out of the paint.
Shaqiri inside.
And that time, I think Okafor, in trying to help, totally forgot about his own man, Shaqiri. That's the guy he started on. Can't afford the mental errors. Not down the stretch here.
One-on-one with Shaqiri. He got deep but couldn't finish.
Shaqiri took the angle from him that time. Experienced junior.
Oh my goodness! Over the top goes McClellan. And Miami with an 8-point lead in Cameron. Duke has won 41 consecutive games here at Cameron Indoor Arena. They missed a couple from point-blank range last couple of trips down. This is LeConte.
My goodness, that is opportunistic right there.
Nothing. Miami run.
No hesitation. Tommy, that's one of those shots. Coach will jump off the bench. What a nice shot. First of all, the alley-oop, no pressure on the ball, allowing Miami to come down pretty much unheeded, giving them clear vision.
Duke last lost back-to-back regular season games in February of 2009. Road games then at North Carolina and at Boston College.
And LeConte, that's his game right there. He looked around, see if anybody's around him, and shot it with confidence. And you got to give credit to Jim Larrañaga for that kind of confidence to allow his guy to shoot that and not have any worries whatsoever.
He told Fran Fraschilla at the break it will be a second half of runs. You've got to be able to withstand the Duke run and put together one of your own. The last 5.5 minutes, Miami has scored 21 of the game's 28 points.
Jahlil Okafor 0 for 2 from the field here in the half. Has not been able to get on track. Miami has changed defenses. They've gone one-on-one. They've double-teamed. And he's kind of out of rhythm at this point.
Winslow lost it. Okafor pays it off. Credit Jefferson with the assist. And that's the first bucket since the 10-10 mark in the first half for the talented freshman. And now Duke looking for D. Canes have hit their last 5 field goal attempts. And they turn it over. There's a reason he shoots for high percentages.
Well, his team is working with him on that one. Fortuitous bounce, good delivery. Okafor may be back in this ballgame.
We'll send you back to the studio after this. Football stars in the house. Clinton Portis had a great freshman season for Miami back in 1999. He was the first freshman to start at running back for the Canes since 1975. Hoping his Canes can hold on tonight against Duke and end the Blue Devils' 41-game home court win streak. Dan Fraschilla is down on the court. He was listening in on the Miami hunt.
But here's what Jim Larrañaga said. We love our small lineup versus Duke right now. We can drive them when we spread them out. Remember, don't run offense, play offense.
Okafor finally hits one of those quick shots, a turnaround jumper off the glass. He's got a baker's dozen.
And Jim Larrañaga a little upset right now because Jacari didn't have his hands up. It was one of those quick shots that you'll live with. But Okafor, again, after the score on the dunk, feeling good about himself. He's got to be the one to lead this team back. Establish himself in the post, make him feel more comfortable shooting a perimeter shot.
Tip up and in for Jefferson. A perfect night from the floor.
Neil Jefferson, that's his 5th offensive rebound. He has just been a man on the offensive glass.
Jefferson, I think, lost a contact on his way in to crash the glass and for the tip in. That was something that was missing in their loss against North Carolina State. Jefferson had just 4 points in 22 minutes in a game that he didn't start. And it was one of the things that made the Wolfpack's double team so effective that they didn't have another threat inside.
Take a look right here on the spin by Cook. And look where Jefferson is. Beats his man, who happens to be a guard. And he took full advantage right there. Angel Rodriguez, LeCompte, not really understanding exactly where he's supposed to be at that point. Just trying to fight the big fella off.
Well, Jim Larrañaga said he likes his smaller lineup in that last timeout. He's got Rodriguez and the freshman Jaquan Newton in the backcourt. And here's the Duke pressure.
And here's what Jim Larrañaga said his guys have to create space. He's not allowing anybody to set any screens down there. Rodriguez has to get himself open. And he didn't do it, and they had to burn the timeout.
7-point Miami lead. Doesn't get any easier for Duke. Saturday at noon on ESPN, 2 Hall of Fame coaches collide in an epic battle between a pair of top 10 teams as number 4 Duke takes on 6th-ranked Louisville. The Yum Center will be hopping Saturday at noon on ESPN. Louisville coming off of a loss down Tobacco Road at the Dean Dome on Saturday.
Full court pressure by Duke. This is an extremely important possession for Miami, as much psychologically as anything else. Duke now with outstanding momentum. They're coming after you. You know, you got the combination of a hostile crowd. You've got to be strong with the ball. You got to be smart enough, again, to create that space.
Duke was a fingertip away from a takeaway, and once again right there. The defense extended, and a jump ball after being ripped away by Justice Winslow.
What did I say about being strong with it? They're coming, and you got to be ready. Here, holding the ball just out there. You think you get away from one. The others are coming.
This is what Jim Larrañaga was talking about in terms of offense. When they bring the pressure, we've got to find ways to alleviate it and get looks.
The best way to do that is to attack. Use the aggression of the defense against itself.
Shot clock at 7. LeCompte got turnaround. Jacari will drive and dish. Shot clock at 2. That one caught the rim, and Miami's got it back. A fresh shot clock. McClellan. Wow! A big-time 3 off of the offensive rebound. His first triple of the night.
Huge, huge offensive rebound by Rodriguez. Smallest guy on the floor, 1 of 2.
And a steal. Here's McClellan out front.
Oh, my goodness, that has got to be. You got to call something beyond
least a flagrant 1
exactly.
would be 2 in the ball for Miami. A flagrant 2 would lead to an ejection.
But at least 1, that's excessive. They have got to look at that. Take a look at the drive right here. Now watch the reach. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. And I know it wasn't intentional, but that's not the case here with this type of foul. It's not an intentional situation. But if it's excessive, you've got to call that.
The language is pretty simple when it comes to a flagrant 1 or a flagrant 2. Excessive and or unnecessary. Not a legitimate play on the ball, and here's the key for this situation. Indeed, from behind. Now, it'll be an automatic ejection with 2 shots in the ball if it was deemed excessive, severe, or extreme.
I don't see it as a 2 because it wasn't intentional. Winslow trying to hustle, but the contact made was such that, as you mentioned, Tom, excessive and probably unnecessary. So he sticks his hand out trying to avoid it, but unfortunately he's got to do a better job avoiding it. That somebody could have seriously hurt right there.
McClellan had just hit a 3. And then he had the tip from behind to lead this break.
Just a little bit, just a sliver of contact. And we all know once you get up in the air, that's all it takes. But again, I reiterate, we know it wasn't intentional. It was not intentional. It just tried to get out of the way and couldn't get fully out of the way.
I would think that Roger Ayers, Jerry Heater, and James Breeding would focus on that last line of the flagrant 1 from behind. It's not going to be a flagrant 1. A common foul, 2 shots. And the key here is the possession that would follow after these 2 shots. It would be automatic for Miami. It's written in black and white. And they have a chance now to go to replay, and they decide against a flagrant 1 after taking a look. So Sheldon McClellan will have 2 free throws.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
Fran had a chance down on the court side to talk to the officials. What do you got, Fran?
That's why it wasn't a flagrant 1. Common foul. He tried to avoid him.
But what about the push? Did anybody say anything about the push in the back?
Lenny said he tried to avoid him. That's what they saw on the tape.
All right, I'm just saying.
Well, Duke can find motivation and runs in all sorts of occurrences here in this building where they've won 41 in a row. Okafor with the tip in. He's got 15 now. Fifth double-double of the season for Okafor.
And the motivation has to be that they dodged one on that. They got to come out and play solid defense.
Wayne Cook with the reach in, his second.
Team foul starting to mount up a little bit. Duke with 5, Miami with 4.
Cook commits another one. Now 3 on the senior guard out of Washington, D.C.
Next foul by Duke. Shooting foul, 1-and-1 for Miami. They've got to realize that and be as aggressive as they can.
15 points and 11 boards for Jahlil Okafor. Cook for 3.
In order to take those threes, I think Duke has got to give Okafor some touches. In this kind of situation, you're coming back from a 9-point deficit. Your big fella has got to touch it. Force the defense to change. That's the only way to get them out of position right now.
Angel Rodriguez loves playing in big games. Fran Fraschilla told us that. He told me he was looking forward to playing in Cameron for the first time, and he has delivered.
And this is what you got to do. Give him to the big fella. Give him a chance to touch.
A walk as Okafor fought for the rebound with Jekari. 66-54 to 12-point Miami. Shed the sport coat a while ago. He's looking for win 998. Fran had a peek into Miami's huddle. What'd you learn down there, Fran?
You know, Tommy, it's decision-making time for Jim Larrañaga. They're not sure whether they need the 4-5 trap Okafor the next few possessions. Second thing, I think you're going to see more pick and roll. Duke has not guarded dribble penetration tonight.
Would you double Okafor?
I certainly would right now until Duke has proven that they can knock down a shot or two in succession. And right now they haven't been able to do that. You know, Duke 4 of 14 from beyond the arc. That's 29% approximately.
Omar Sherman banks it in. That's his second three of the game. He opened the game with the three. That was part of the Miami game plan. Whether or not they wanted him to use the glass, I'm not so sure.
But you don't take the pedal off the metal right now. Or the metal off the pedal, however that saying goes.
Okafor with a one-handed board.
Cook. Jefferson still in there fighting.
Off of the offensive rebound. 11 for Cook.
No quit in Emile Jefferson. Quinn Cook once again stepping up for the Blue Devils.
Rodriguez gets into Okafor.
And Tom, that's what he needed to be doing. Okafor had to ultimately put a hand on him in order to guard him off that quickness. Head and shoulders past him. He got a hand on it. The official saw it.
Second personal foul on the freshman from Chicago. And it puts Angel Rodriguez to the free throw line. Rodriguez transferred in from Kansas State. He was a second-team all-conference selection in the Big 12. Named to the Big 12 all-defensive team, the Big 12 tournament team. Played for Frank Martin and then Bruce Weber. Sat out last year as a transfer. And this season, his season high was 25 against Virginia. He hit 3 threes late in a near upset for Miami. They lost in overtime to the Cavaliers. Pardon me, 3 free throws late now.
LeCompte really playing Quinn Cook tightly on the ball, and that's what Miami needs to do, maintain their aggressiveness.
Duke leaning on the threes here late. Suleiman can't hit.
Still got to look at the big fella. I mean, a good drive, you draw the foul, but the defense opens up when Okafor gets a touch.
That's the third on Tanya Jakiri. 5th team foul on Miami. And Justice Winslow, who went down the nasty spill earlier this half, has another free throw coming his way.
And Winslow just a 62% free throw shooter. And really, that's the focus right now. You take a look at his line. He's had a difficult time of this game and the game before.
Jefferson on the boards. Suleiman lets it fly. Another offensive rebound leads to a foul on Rodriguez. Duke is just 2 for 8 from deep here in the second half.
Not a bad foul as Duke still has to inbound the ball. Miami had 1 to give. Gives them a chance to reset their defense. Duke has done a terrific job after offensive rebounds of kicking it back outside and knocking down threes when they can hit them.
Hard foul on the lob to Jefferson.
And Miami now in the penalty 1-1. And good job by Duke of taking the time right there and running their offense.
That was the third on Angel Rodriguez.
And with Marshall Plumlee in the game, Duke looking to play a little offense-defense, trying to keep Okafor out of foul trouble.
Duke really struggling from the free throw line. 0 for 5 this half. line lob to McClellan, it looked like. Duke has the numbers, 4-on-1. Cook will tee it up. Knocks it down.
And that's basketball today, folks. 4-on-1 fast break, and you throw it outside and knock down a three. Fortunately, Cook was able to knock it down. Otherwise, the judgment could have been questioned on that.
LeConte able to draw the foul on Marshall Plumlee, his first.
Look at this. This break, you got 4-on-1, and you kick it back outside for a three. Yes, you've got the orange shirts buried in the paint. That's a gutsy move, a gutsy shot by Quinn Cook.
Duke shoots nearly 38% from behind the line. And Cook has made a three in 26 consecutive games. 1-1 for LeConte. $14 points for Manu LeConte.
Miami 71% from the line. LeConte 87, Rodriguez 77. The two guys that are going to handle it a lot. McClellan 79. So we got guys very capable on the line.
This is a new Miami team. It's a young Miami team with a handful of transfers. They lost at home to Eastern Kentucky, but Jim Larenega's team has not been rattled all night. They haven't been bothered at the least in playing here at Cameron.
Allen, a three-point shooter. Watch him inbound the ball and look for a shot.
Taken away by LeConte. And his floater floats home. He's got 17. Miami's lead grows back to 15.
How about under control?
Cook gets it for 16. The kind of shades of what happened Sunday at NC State, where Duke put together a mini run, kind of draw back into the game, and the opposition finished stronger than Duke did.
Yeah, I mean, the fresh bodies Mike Krzyzewski has to shuttle in and out. You know, tells you the pressure that they're going to try to apply.
Third on Suleiman. The loss at North Carolina State on Sunday was a new experience in toughness, according to Mike Krzyzewski.
Take a look right here on the drive. There's certainly contact. That right arm came up by LeConte, but officials made the call they made.
Another one coming for the sophomore from Belgium.
Which is an abject lesson in why you stay aggressive. You stay aggressive and you're going to get your calls.
2 for 2 from LeConte. He's tied his career high with 19. Suleiman lost it, and he gets a whistle. If that's on Rodriguez, it's his fourth. And that's trouble for Miami. 4 personal fouls on Angel Rodriguez. Duke trying to mount a rally, but sticky fingers for...
And you look at the way they've carried their team in certain instances, the way they create for others. I mean, there's a value in all 5 of them. And quite honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if any of those 5 was right there in the mix.
So the midseason 25 revealed tomorrow at noon on ESPN.com.
Hey, Tommy, that Wooden Award candidate better guard pick and roll the last 357 because that's what Jim Larenega wants to do. Open up the floor. And the other thing is stay compact on defense, switch 1, 2, and 3.
All right, Frank, great stuff. Thanks. Rasheed Suleiman knocks them both down. He's into double figures once again. 13-point lead. Duke extending the pressure.
But when you take a look at bench points, Miami's at 29 to Duke's 11. They've been able to get a lot of mileage out of their depth. And to some extent, that may be what has worn Duke down. And Mike Krzyzewski's had to shuttle guys in and out to keep them fresh.
Miami able to use some clock here. Haynes bench giving him more than 18 for the 12th time in 16 games this season. At 29 off the bench against Virginia. Shot clock at 2. And a foul with 2 seconds on the clock.
Wow.
The go against Suleiman, his 4th. Second consecutive game Mike Krzyzewski has had that look on the bench.
If you could read my mind, take a look right here. Just a hand on him. That time you got to move your feet. You got to know that your defense is behind you. You cannot put them on the line, particularly with 2 seconds left. It's a bailout.
Hey guys, a big story right here tonight. 78 points right now for Miami. And much like last year, guard penetration. Those Duke guards have not been able to contain the ball.
Big part of that, Manu Licani's got a career high 21 points tonight. This is a rarity tonight.
It's a rarity, but it's conference play. You know, you take a look, Duke on average throughout the season, 63 points is what they allowed. But in conference play, it's 71 points per game. Opponents are shooting 47% from the 2-point inside the 3-point line and 36% from beyond the arc. So conference play is a completely different animal, and it is that way for everybody. I don't care if you're Kentucky, Virginia, whomever.
Kentucky rolled tonight against Missouri. Virginia was able to shut down Clemson.
Boy, you talk about desire right there. That was a 50-50 ball. Again, another 50-50 ball. Miami beats them to it.
And now the Canes have numbers, and Okafor is able to bring it down.
And some of that has to do with the fact that Duke has to be dog-tired. Again, short bench.
Cook playing with heart. 18 and a hard drop. The Coach K court for Quinn Cook. It's been since February of 2009 since Duke last lost back-to-back regular season games. Yet Kentucky among others.
Well, again, as you mentioned, this game is not over. Not by a long shot. 2:38. A lot can happen. 3-point shooters for Duke. Their pressure. Miami's just got to be smart with it, and they got to be able to knock down free throws. Oh, my goodness. Got to maintain control of that.
Allen will go to the free throw line.
LeCompte asking the question, was that not a foul? Apparently not.
On the other side, it's the second on him. And Grayson Allen, the freshman from Jacksonville, only played 2 minutes against NC State on Sunday, is at the free throw line.
As I mentioned, anything can happen. You know, Miami's got to maintain possession of the ball, and once again, on the road, you've got to be strong with it.
Allen hits them both. Duke just 4 for 9 from the free throw line in the second half. LeCompte crosses the timeline. Numbers for Miami. And McClellan fouled by Plumlee. Second on Marshall Plumlee.
Well, with 2:22 left, Miami is not backing it out, trying to play clock. Here's an attack right here, going right after Plumlee. And as I said before, when you're aggressive, you have to stay aggressive.
Jones and Okafor return for Plumlee and Jefferson.
Now, if I'm Miami, defensively, I'm going to stay on top. I'm going to force Duke inside the 3-point line. Not allow them an open look.
Taken away by Rodriguez. 23 for Angel Rodriguez. Largest lead of the game for Miami. Under 2 minutes to go at Cameron.
Nice step through right there to avoid the double team. And you know, Miami can feel it right now.
Even the crazies are a little bit out of energy. Duke last lost at home in March of 2012 against North Carolina, an 18-point loss to the Heels.
Miami's only got 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Got to do something with it.
LeConte finds Shaqiri for the jam. And a foul by Tyus Jones will put Rodriguez at the free throw line.
Well, who'd have thunk it? But coming in here playing a team that obviously was licking its wounds and hadn't lost back-to-back games, one on the road and one at home, since 2007. And Miami comes in here, you mentioned 10 new guys, and they come in here and play with poise as though they've been together forever.
ESPN Stats and Info tells us coming into tonight, Duke had a 92% chance to win this game and earn Coach K win number 998. But Jim Larrañaga's been there. He's seen it.
Yep.
14 years at George Mason, 11 at Bowling Green before that. Longtime assistant in the ACC to Virginia. He's not the kind of guy that gets too high or too low.
No, and you watch him in practice, he's about as relaxed as you want to be. I mean, this is obviously a job that he cherishes, and he's had his underdog cape on before.
Oh, what an exclamation! Sheldon McClellan. A 20-point Miami lead with 60 seconds left. Does this change how you view Duke overall, big picture, not just this loss, but back-to-back losses and a struggling win on the road at Wake?
Well, certainly you've got the weaknesses that have been exploited and will continue to be exploited until they find a way to shore them up. And equally as important, remember, this is still a young team. When you get the majority of your production from 3 freshmen, you got to recognize the ups and downs. These guys are good. These young people are skilled. But once again, playing against upperclassmen, playing in the conference, they have to find themselves, their personality. They have to find that toughness to play against conference foes. As I mentioned, the stark comparison between what they've done on the regular season and what they've done now in 4 conference games tells the story.
Well, that non-conference includes wins against Michigan State and on the road at Wisconsin, handing the Badgers their first loss of the season.
That might say how strong the ACC is as much as anything.
Neutral site win against UConn. Congratulations all the way around for Angel Rodriguez, a Kansas State transfer. And Davon Reed.
And when you look at some of the mistakes, Duke 6 of 20 from beyond the arc, 10 of 20 from the free throw line. They left a lot of points out there on the floor.
LeConte, Rodriguez combined for 47 points. Mike Krzyzewski will have to wait a little bit longer to get to win 1,000. We've got Louisville on the road next noon Saturday on ESPN. Suleiman with the jam. 90 points scored by Miami tonight, 20 more than their average. Early in the season, Mike Krzyzewski was so proud of his young guys playing great defense.
I'll tell you right now, again, the guard play. We mentioned it before. The guards had to have big nights for Miami. LeConte with 21 points. Obviously, Rodriguez with 24. We take a look at the keys. That's exactly what we talked about. They limited their turnovers, only 10 turnovers. Miami played its game plan to the hilt.
Jim Larrañaga will have a winning record against Duke, his 3rd win against the Blue Devils in 5 tries, his 2nd win here at Cameron Indoor. And Miami, an 11-14, goes to 2-1 in conference play, snapping Duke's 41-game home court win streak and quieting the Cameron Crazies here on Coach K Court. A 90-74 final. Miami's paced by Angel Rodriguez. He had 24 tonight. He had 25 in their near upset against Virginia. He said that loss to Virginia was disheartening, but it gave them the confidence they needed after some non-conference struggles.
How about that? 47 points between Angel Rodriguez and Manu LeConte. And these guys had